Hi everybody, I'm Marianne Wyndham with Wyndham Travel and Leisure, and my friend Cheryl at Build a Bride Huntsville had posted on honeymoon planning and invited people to ask questions about anything that you could possibly want to know about planning your honeymoon, or at least getting started. So I've got some questions here. I may switch back and forth between some of the answers, but I just want to share a little bit of info with you. One of the first questions that was asked is, where should we go? This really just depends on the couple, the bride and groom. Where have you been before in your lives? What kind of activities do you like to do? When do you think you're going to want to go? What the budget is? There's so many things to consider with just that question, but I have an idea. What I think you should do together, but separately, is write your 5 top destinations that you would love to go to, and then also a reason why beside it. And you can compare those and see if any overlap, and then that may be one of the choices that you should take a look at. 2 is to take a look at, if you're wondering, and this has to do with budget, where to go, then look at those places from your city where you're going to fly out of. How long is the trip? How far do you want to fly? How long do you want to be on a plane? Do you want it to be 3 hours, 5, 11, 15, 19? Makes a big difference. In the city that you're going to fly out of, it may be your home city, or maybe even a city that's adjacent that may have more international flights on a regular basis. I'm going to skip on to budget. Budget with that concerned is thinking about the distance that you're going to go. For the flights alone, that could take a chunk out of your budget if you have stated a budget. A 3-hour flight, 5, 9, 11, 19, more fuel is going to be used, and the cost of the air is going to go up and up and up and up. So that's definitely a consideration. What you want to do. Are you just wanting to chill out and unwind, toes in the sand, ocean breeze, the sun, and just to literally plant yourselves like at an all-inclusive resort? Or are you wanting activities that you can get up and go, excursions here and there, or maybe a combination of both? So that is a consideration to take a look at too, and it's really something to think about. And I'm posting this and recording this during mid-June during COVID-19 pandemic. What happened with a lot of brides and grooms is they actually had to either delay their wedding, or they went ahead and got married, and they put off their honeymoon until later. But they did like a little mini honeymoon, just a little, weekend getaway. A lot of brides and grooms are doing that anyway, with or without a pandemic. They just are so exhausted, and they have so much going on during the wedding weekend that they just want to kind of get away for just a couple of days. Or they may have a lot of family coming into town, and they want to have the celebration of the rehearsal dinner, the wedding, the reception, and then maybe the next day they're going to have the bridal party and their family for one last, brunch or get together before everybody has to fly back to their hometowns. So the brides and grooms today are even looking at extending the time with their families for the celebration, and maybe waiting 1 or 2 days before they even leave for their honeymoon, or some actually even bump it like a month later, or even 6 months later, or even beyond. And some of that also may have to do with the budget, because they want to save up. They've already spent all this money on the wedding festivities, and they need to save up a little bit more before they go on that extended honeymoon to where they really want to go. And another consideration too is where and when can have a lot to do with the destination as far as the climate. An example, hurricane season officially runs June 1st to November 30th. So it doesn't mean there's going to be a hurricane if you go to the Caribbean, but it means that there is a possibility that there could be a hurricane. So that's something to consider. If you are wanting to go to Europe for your honeymoon and it's in the wintertime, November to February, let's say, then you're going to have colder weather. So if you're wanting to be a little bit warm, toasty, or 65, 80 degrees, around that range, then you need to look at what the weather is like typically in those destinations during those time periods, because there are brides and grooms who actually plan their wedding date around where they want to go on their honeymoon. And that actually makes a lot of sense too. So let me get back to some more questions. I'm kind of answering a lot of questions just in this one comment. How long should our honeymoon be? That really is up to you, depending on your budget, how much time you have to get off work, and how long it takes to get there. You may fly to, let's say, Maldives, 19, 20 hours. You really, if you're wanting to be on the ground in the destination for a week, you may want to tack on a day or even 2 on each side to get over there, adjust, have your time, and then come back. So that's really something to consider, is how far away these different destinations are. So I suggest you go, just while you're looking at your top 5 each, do a Google search of air from your city to that destination and see what the distance is, how long it takes to get there, and around the average cost of the flights at the time that you're going to go. 5, how should we pay for this honeymoon? That's a good question. Who is paying for the honeymoon? In olden days, in traditional, it was the groom's side. It's completely changed now, that it may be shared by the families of the bride and groom, or it just may be the bride and groom that are paying for it themselves. Budgeting. You can actually pay for your honeymoon in installments. You put down a deposit, and between the deposit paid and the final amount due, you can make little payments along the way. The further out you plan it and schedule, the further out you have to pay for it. And by the time it's all said and done, you may have paid for your honeymoon completely 6 months before you even go, and then that's one more thing to check off your list. Question, is travel insurance necessary or important? Yes and yes. And for anybody who has scheduled or had any travel planned during this pandemic, if you weren't already using vacation protection for your trips, you have changed your mind and you're doing it now. It has very little to do with whether or not you want to go on that trip. You yourself, it has everything to do with anything that is not in your control that may keep you from going on that trip. The option for you to pay that little amount to protect your investment of your trip in order to change the dates or cancel altogether and get a refund is enormous. Again, this is Travel Tuesday, and we're talking about honeymoon planning, and really, bottom line for you, a honeymoon is one of the most important trip of a lifetime for you. So you want it to be the very best that it can be for you, based on your interests, your budget, and just how you want to create new memories with your loved one on that vacation. I hope this answers some of your questions. I'm happy to take more, and I'll be back in touch with you again. There's a lot more to say about honeymoon planning, and then also even like how to pack and plan for that trip once you know where you're going. Again, I'm Mary Ann Wyndham with Wyndham Travel and Leisure. What's on your bucket list? And thank you, Build a Bride Huntsville, for the opportunity to share this with your clients. Thanks.